morning is Saturday morning. We're opening up our row of wrapped fodder that we did, the ones we baled the day after we did the ear leach and that we baled wet for feed. We opened up the end bale and yeah, it's beautiful. It's no spoilage on it whatsoever. It smells tremendous. Yeah, we're gonna start feeding it here. We had baled this probably at least 3 weeks ago now, maybe a little longer than that, and just decided to wait till now to start feeding them. We're gonna feed a half a bale a day, so we'll bring it in here to the trench and take the net wrap off and pull about half the bale back to save till tomorrow. And then yeah, this is our triticale trench that we what was chopped after it was headed out, the late cut triticale. We kind of take the one bale prong and go along the top and split the net wrap off. Yeah, and then we kind of take the prong and kind of go in and peel the top open about how much we want to split off. And yeah, pull the center core out, bring it over here and set it along the wall. With it being cut like we do with the rotor cut, you gotta kind of be careful with it because they can fly completely apart if you're not careful. Then we come back and take our prongs and go in under what was the whole bale to catch the net wrap and pull it up out of there. Yeah, you don't want to let any of that wrap in the feed. And just pull it up out of there and kind of come back up again and dump it a little bit. Yeah, you almost, the first time you pull it out, you get a little bit of, well, we do it with the hay as well, but whatever you're feeding, but the first time you do it, you get a little bit of hay with it, hay or fodder, and then you come back and dump it out again and catch it and pull it up out of there, and you're pretty much good to go. Now, I believe I got a little bit left there I need to go back and get. Every once in a great while you might have a little bit that gets left that you'll find wrapped on the one screw in the mixer, but yeah, we always try to get it out of there. You don't want to have a bunch of wrap mixed in their feed or getting all wrapped up in the mixer. That would be a pain in the neck. There's a spot right here where we always dump our plastic and net wrap. Right here, there's a little short wall in between two doorways here on the end of the dry cow barn, and it works out pretty slick. We can just bring our loader tractor there, and when they get a little pile there and scoop it up and take it out to get rid of it. This morning I'm done the feeding. I usually feed at least once or twice a week, probably almost always on Thursday mornings and often one of the weekend feedings. And my wife's family was together last night. We have a bank barn up here on the farm where my son lives. My son Willie lives. Once a year we have a family gathering there in the barn. It's getting to be quite large. Because yeah, there's quite a few grandchildren, and then there's getting to be a good many great-grandchildren now. So anyway, it's always a good time. Some years it don't suit everybody or some people, but last night there was a lot of them there. It wasn't quite everybody, but it was a fairly large crowd. Have a supper, and then usually one of my sons does a hay ride if it's nice weather. Everybody seems to enjoy that. But yeah, this morning I started milking, and my son came and took over, and I'm feeding now. It's kind of chilly here this morning. I think I've seen 43 degrees Fahrenheit when I get up. But we had one morning it was a little cooler than that. I think there was one morning we've seen 39, but we haven't had no frost yet, which is fairly unusual to get frost anymore before end of October, and some years it's been a little later. But yeah, the dry cows, we start out getting some corn distillers and minerals there in the feed room, and we pull out, get just a little bit of straw, a couple slices of straw put in. Whenever we're feeding this fodder, once we get in the dead of winter and it gets cold, we actually feed them for 2 days and just keep it pushed up on the off days, or the off day. But here, till it gets a little colder, we'll keep feeding them every day. And when we feed them every other day, we just put a whole round bale in. But yeah, we figure the weight of our wrapped bales in with the silage that we get out of this trench, so it works really, really slick. You just come in and get a scoop where you have the wrapped hay or fodder and take it and dump it in the mixer. With the rotor cut, I think I might have mentioned this before, but it is chopped up fairly fine. There is some stuff it's just a tad stringy in it yet, but with the vertical mixer, it finishes chewing it up pretty good. We've got, I don't know, 5 or 6 knives on each screw, and yeah, it's pretty much processed till you run it out. We always dump this in first, so it gets down in there, gets mixed in from the start. If you dump it in last, it can kind of maybe lay more up on the top and roll around and don't get mixed in quite as good. We didn't start feeding our sorghum yet. We often wait a couple weeks after we put it in the trench to make sure it's cured. If you try to start feeding it right away, especially if it's still warm, it can really heat and you have trouble keeping it fresh on the face. And I think it was about 2 weeks ago now we put it in, but yeah, so we were planning to open it up this week here maybe. Then we seen several days here. It's supposed to be in the mid 80s, 3 or 4 days. So once it cools down again, I think we'll go ahead and open that up as well. Yeah, we put a scoop of corn silage in, and then the rest of it is that fodder and triticale silage at this point. But yeah, once we start open up the sorghum trench and start feeding that, dry cows and heifers probably get about half or probably 2/3 of their forage from either sorghum or triticale here over the winter with a little corn silage sprinkled in. Feeding the milk cows this morning. There you can see the line on our harvester this morning. It was a pretty heavy dew and kind of cold. It's right there, down about 16 feet probably from the top. So it would be down about 10 feet or so from where it was whenever we had it clear full. We're feeding a little more this year than we had most years, but we do have that ag bag we put up, a 10 by 200 ag bag. So we're trying to decide if we want to feed out of that ag bag or blow it in the silo here when it gets empty enough this winter, maybe like February or March before it gets, while it's still colder. It's good to move silages if you're going to move them whenever it's cooler. And yeah, if you move it when it's really, really hot, sometimes they can go through a heat and not be quite as good a feed after that. But yeah, we'll see. We're probably going to most likely blow it in the silo here about February or March, but we'll see how it all works out. And part of that is where we laid it at. We didn't have a real good area to lay it where we could feed out of it. And where we put it at, if it rains, it would get awful muddy out there. So yeah, we don't want to have a big mess on our hands or play around in the mud. We're mowing 2 small grass hay fields down here today. Yeah, this will be the last cutting for sure of these 2 fields. There's about, I don't know, 9 or 10 acres total. It's the 3rd cutting we made off of them this year. First cutting got made in good time. Then second cutting was a little bit late because it was raining so much and it was so wet over here. It's kind of it is across the road from our house, and it's kind of low-lying ground around the stream here. So, but yeah, we could have made it probably, I don't know, a couple weeks ago, but it was kind of short, and then we got that inch of rain there about 10 days ago now, so it really stretched on up after that. So anyway, we're mowing it here today, and we'll go ahead and bale it on Monday. We have about another 20 acres that was a little shorter than this yet, and after that rain it really came on pretty strong, so they're talking about a few more showers this next week. So think if we get that, it will get another cutting off of that yet too. So it's early enough here. We'll get a little regrowth on it here yet this fall, so that'll be good for it going into winter. Yeah, there was some spots down along the stream that we were able to get. Well, the stream's not running now, it dried up again, but there's a few spots down there along the stream that we were able to get that we hadn't mowed all summer, so that was nice. This is what happens when the electric goes out and the milkman comes. So yeah, too, that everybody up the road is out of electric. I didn't hear what happened, but something did. Yeah, I'm out here looking at our corn a little bit this afternoon, and man, this stuff is really drying down. This is a corn we're wanting to shell dry, and yeah, I didn't get any of it tested. I would guess it's somewhere around 20% just by biting into the kernels and stuff, anywhere from 19 to 21 probably. But yeah, some of this is in the beginning of October here. Sometimes in our area it's a little hard to get it to dry completely down to dry, but this year I think we easily will. So yeah, it's got pretty nice ears on it out here. Not sure how it'll bushel out, but yeah, hopefully it'll do all right. We had a pretty good stand out here, and the ears are pretty uniform as you walk through the field. And yeah, guess we'll know better when we combine it. So yeah, we always try to get it down below 18% for sure, and if we can get a little drier than that, that would be great. But we'll see how the weather goes. If it stays like it's been, where we haven't been getting much rain, it's staying dry, we'll let it stand out here a little longer. We want to get this all off and get the fodder all baled and get a cover crop planted back here. So about 85 or 87 acres back here. There's another ear we opened up. This one variety we always have trouble with. The ears don't drop as quick. Yeah, usually when it's starting to get dry, the ears will really start dropping, but this one variety here just don't do that. I'm not sure why. Yeah, you can see the corn's just really shelling right off of there. So you know when it shells off like that, that it's starting to get pretty dry. Yeah, this last night, there was a full moon here in October. It's what's called the harvest moon, I guess. It's really, really bright out. It's about 5 o'clock in the morning, so it's still dark out, but man, is that moon ever bright. A few clouds are starting to come in. Looks pretty neat. Talking about a few showers of rain tonight, so it'd be nice if we would get something, but yeah, we're probably a little over half done milking, half to 2/3 done milking, so. Saturday afternoon here, I believe it's October the 11th. Yeah, yesterday morning they were talking about a slight chance of frost, or they had a frost watch out, I guess they called it, and in parts of the state they actually had a frost warning. We were right near the frost warning area, but it got down to like 33 degrees, maybe even we might even seen 32 for a little bit, and there was definitely some frost on the ground. But yeah, this field of Sudex here that we had chopped here probably 3 weeks or so ago now, it's really greening back up after the showers of rain we had, and it did not get hit by the frost. It would have, even down on the home farm, some spots that definitely had a hard frost. There on some of Lois's flowers, there was definitely frost on them, but it didn't kill them. So it definitely wasn't a killing frost. So I don't think we have enough time to get another cutting off of here, but you never know. We might be surprised. One year, probably 6-8 years ago, we had some weather like this, and there's some guys shooting their guns in over here. If you hear that in the background. Oh goodness, we have an old slate pit over here we're filling in. A bunch of people use that area to target practice or shoot their guns in. So, but yeah, anyway, going back here to the Sudex, they one year about 10 years ago we had some like this, and it stayed warm down into November, and we ended up getting that stuff up about between your knees and waist high, and it made a bunch more stuff on a second cutting. This is a field that we would have planted after we took wheat off, and we chopped it there in the one video. I think it was about 3 weeks ago we chopped it. So anyhow, we'll see what happens. Right now there definitely ain't enough here to make, and I said, well, if it gets frosted, that's done for sure. But this stuff can more than double its height in a week time. And next week they're talking about several days being in the 70s, so you never know. Oh, and there's even a few more showers of rain coming, so it's going to have the moisture it needs. So if we can just get a week or two of good hot weather with no frost, which there's no frost in the 2-week forecast at this point, so we'll see what happens. Oh boy, now they're really going at it. Corn that we planted after we took wheat off, and yeah, the frost definitely didn't get it. I'm pretty impressed with this corn. It's coming along pretty good. It's got pretty decent ears in. Looks like it ought to make pretty decent silage, actually. The kernels are just starting to dent, so it's going to be a little bit till we chop that, unless we do get frost on it yet. But yeah, we'll see how everything goes. We're planning to put it up for heifer feed, but most likely that's what it'll end up being anyhow. But yeah, if it tests good enough, it has enough energy in it, it's liable to get some of that to get fed to the cows. But overall, it's looking pretty good. It was planted around the 12th or 13th of July probably, and it would have had all kinds of moisture there through about the middle of August, and then it got dry after that. Had a few rains, and then yeah, had some later rains here the last couple weeks now.